Hi everyone and welcome to XP Share. My name is Stormy, I'm your host, and today we are joined by Cuzb0t to talk about all things Apex Legends. Cuz, thank you so much for joining.
No, thanks for having me. I've been, really excited to be able to do this with you, and I'm super stoked that you're getting into this form of content because it's just it's a lot of fun. So
Thank you so much. No, I was really excited when I saw that you put your interest forward to be a guest here, because before I actually, steal your thunder, so to speak, no pun intended, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
no, that's fun. I go by the alias of Cuzb0t. But you can call me Cuz or Cuzzy. Just don't call me yours unless you buy me a drink first. I am a former professional Call of Duty 4 player, now turned Twitch streamer. I've been streaming for nearly 3 years and just trying to build a community, trying to reclaim that thunder that I lost all those years ago. And now I'm focused on creating content, especially with this new group. Blackout GG is the first Indigenous content group that I believe has been formed in Australia. And we trying to just pave the way for future First Nation content creators. And I'm just trying to be good at all FPSs like I claim to be. And that's just a little bit about me,
Oh, no, that's fantastic. I mean, you mentioned before you were a professional COD player, and I guess this is probably a question for when we talk about Apex and how those skills have transferred over to a game like Apex as well. But for those who don't know or are new to the show as well, XP Share is all about finding your next video game obsession. So whether you've never picked up video games before or you're just starting to, or if you are familiar with the gaming scene and you're looking for a new game to play, every episode we're bringing on a creator to talk about one of their favorite games, and yours is Apex Legends. And this is a little bit poetic for me as well, because before I even started streaming myself, this was the first bit of content I put out in gaming related. It was it was just when it came out. It's a bit cringeworthy looking back now, and it was like, why Apex Legends is so much fun. It was literally like the week after it came out. So this is kind of like, it's almost come around full circle a little bit, getting to talk about it on the show with you. So Apex Legends is developed by Respawn Entertainment, published by EA. First came out in 2019 on PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. And in that year, it won Best Multiplayer Game at the Game Awards. Now, it's currently available on, I want to say it's pretty much almost every platform now, right? So PS4, 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, Nintendo Switch, Windows, and mobile as well, so iOS and Android.
But they just removed that.
Did they?
They just literally
completely?
Yeah, start of this month they've just completely removed it.
No. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, my websites were not up to date then, because I've never delved into the mobile space for Apex, and we're going on a bit of a tangent here, because didn't they have exclusive characters to play in the mobile game as well?
You spent real money for it and they don't refund anything, and then there's
so all those people now that have bought it on mobile, that's it, doesn't...
No more servers, no nothing. Yeah.
Ooh, awkward. So, okay, anyway, so you can play on every console, PC, just not your mobile, but that's fine. Anyway, moving on. Because for those who have never played Apex Legends, what's the best way you would describe this game in general?
All right, well, first and foremost, it's a battle royale. So you think your Warzone, Call of Duty Warzones, you think your Fortnites, you think your PUBGs. I found it randomly. I used to play a little bit of H1Z1 on the console when I used to be a bit of a console gamer. And then all of a sudden, it came out of nowhere. That was the best thing about Apex. Literally came out of the works. There was no real advertising for it. And I have enjoyed it since it started, but I did take quite a bit of a break from it. And I was enjoying Warzone for a time. And my favorite thing about Apex is it's just the RNG of it all. So like the random act of anybody can play it. Anybody can potentially be good at it. There's no real... defining factors that make it more superior in terms of like weapon plays or ability plays, where you kind of just drop in and anything can happen. But the whole goal of it is to get that to become the champion, to become the top squad of 3 of trios or duos if the queues ever pop, And yes, that's probably how I would describe it. It's a spin-off of Titanfall. So it has the movement. It's a movement-based battle royale, and I think I could probably just keep dragging on, but that's the gist of it.
Well, you've actually like answered the next part of my question. And I guess this is also going to open like a potential massive answer as well. But I was going to ask you about the lore in the game because obviously it's connected to the Titanfall universe. Obviously, those who haven't played Titanfall, I would say you wouldn't need to worry. When I started playing Apex, hadn't played Titanfall 1 or 2 at all, was able to just jump straight in. Because while it's not obviously a story-driven game, being like a battle royale multiplayer game, like, what can you tell us about like the characters and stuff like that, or the general like maybe the concept of like the Apex Legends, like the tournaments and stuff themselves?
Well, there's a massive lore to the game itself. So the characters, every season, they generally do release a new character which fits into it, like some sort of story. Like one of the first characters that you were able to unlock after the starting ones was Octane, and his father is kind of like the villain of the story, but then is he a villain type of thing? And they're always releasing different types of like artwork, or the cutscenes, but it's not a moving cutscene. They're kind of like more artworks that's constantly like not quite an animation, but they're always releasing those types of things. Like some of the characters have romances or in love triangles or hate these people or villains. And but so you don't have to play Titanfall to understand the game. It's just more of that nostalgia hit because they obviously take some of the weapons from it a little bit obviously it's the same sort of universe. So like one of the newer characters, Valkyrie, her dad was in the Titanfall 2 story as one of the bad guys. So you do, and when they do lead up to some of the events, they do drop in like little quests that you can kind of do, where there was one where with Bloodhound you have to go around scanning the crows, and then it tells you a story, and then it takes you, after you finish that and you go to the firing range, it gives you a whole cutscene of like, so there is quite an enjoyable lore to it. And all of the characters' quips, the way that they interact with each other, whether if you're playing on the same team as two people that hate each other, and I drop an item and you pick it up, it prompts you to you thank me for it, and then I can reply, but it's it's only one button, but it'll generally replies, "I'm not thanking you for it," kind of thing, and it's like so it's a little bit more to it,
Yeah, I was going to say that's one of the things I think I really liked about the game as well. Like going in as someone who hadn't played Titanfall and discovering these new characters. It just added this extra layer they didn't have to add, but they did. And the different types of animation. More like some of them had like that comic book style feel. I think there was even like a time during the game where there was a set of like kind of comic style like chapters. I feel like that was quite a while ago. But yeah, I think just the extra layer it gives to have the the banter between some of the characters, or even if you're not even fussed going into the lore, but when you are actually playing the game and what you mentioned, those interactions between two people on the same team, you're like, oh, what's going on there? Like, it's just, I don't know, it's just nice. It's cool. There's just a bit more story into it. But you mentioned before, and I remember this too, like the game came out of nowhere. Do you remember the first time that you heard of Apex Legends? Like, were you pretty amongst it in terms of like you had seen it be announced and you're like, oh yeah, might try that? Or was it someone else that told you about the game?
No.
Like, how did you get familiar with it?
So I can't remember the exact moment or how I found it. I was just it was just there in the store because I like to like find new games, and I have like a tight knit of best mates that we all played our PlayStations together, and that's what we would do instead of like attempting to catch up. And all of a sudden this just came out of the store, and so we all played it in its first week, and I remember playing through the first I played the first 3 seasons on my console before I gave up games for a while, but just the whole being able to jump in, and I actually thought I was the best when I first started. I found my old PlayStation stats. I was terrible. I thought I was the best, but just I remember dropping in and getting absolutely dumped on, and I'm like, how do you play this game? So we were landing in no-name POIs, trying to just figure out the controls because there was no real way to learn how to play the game after the tutorial. So it was just 3 best mates, trial and error over and over every day. And yeah, we sucked.
Yeah, no, I remember my experience is very similar. And I think that's the beauty of something like a battle royale. Like it could be over like that. And you're like, okay, let's go again.
Mm.
Or you can have those good matches that do drag on for a bit longer depending on how you play it. But I want to go into more of the your kind of tips and tricks and suggestions and stuff a little bit later
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you primarily started on PlayStation, you said,
Yep.
yeah? And then you moved over to PC a little bit later on down the track, is that right?
So I played Apex, and then I left for when Call of Duty dropped,
Yep.
the first Modern Warfare, so 2019. So I
Mhm.
only played it for the first 3 seasons. I was back and forth, but ultimately it was very
Yeah.
like the games are so different, so it's hard to go from one game to the other. Also, I
Yeah.
found, and then when did I buy my PC? 2020.
Yeah.
Like late 2020 when I first started streaming. So I started streaming on my console, and then when I moved to PC, then I tried
Mhm.
Warzone and realized how you can't play Warzone on PC. So I actually went back to Apex because I was able to run it with my PC at the time, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is just I don't remember. I remember the good times I had in Apex, and the fact that I'm like it's a challenge for me. Because I wasn't good at the
Mm.
game, so I was like, I want to get good at this game. And then there was just so much to learn about it, and just
Yeah.
I love games where you don't need to play every day to pick the game back up, or to in
Mm.
terms of you don't need to grind for skill gear. I can.
Yeah.
It's the best job for someone that works day in day out and just wants to jump on and chill. Actually, really shouldn't say that because I don't want to. I don't want these people that work all day to jump in and
Made
then
the wrong
absolutely get dumped.
impression.
You get absolutely dumped on and be like, "Oh, I
We're
heard
like,
Cuzb0t
Cuz
say on
told
this.
me that
He
it
said it was
was
fun.
chill.
It's not."
Well,
I'm
no, I'm actually really glad you said that because that was something I wanted to discuss with you too. Because I was going to ask you how approachable you would say the game is for a first time player, but obviously you've got this set of experience as like a professional first person shooter behind you for like new players who, like, for example, this was my first battle royale game, and if anything this was the first person shooter style game that I ever got into. Would you say it's fairly easy to pick up in your opinion if you are not familiar with those types of games before?
Um, if I was to say a week ago, I would have been a bit more on the fence about probably it's a lot harder. Like,
Mm,
but now with the new update and the firing range having a complete overhaul, you can actually learn how to play the game a lot better because there's
mm.
a lot more to it instead of just dropping in. You shoot a couple dummies. Like you can actually make the dummies move and stuff now, so you can have that
Oh,
simulation
wow.
of, and it's increased by 20 times the size of the firing range. So right now, doing the tutorial and then going to the firing range and being able to learn all the guns and stuff, it's way easier to get into the game compared to when we first sort of started, where there
Mm.
was no practice. You drop in, you have to learn on the spot or you die. Um,
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to have a look at that with you. So, for those who don't know, another part of I guess this episode or this show is that well, cousin and I after this will go and check out the firing range together and probably drop into a few matches. So, if you guys want to see what that looks like, and I have not played Apex in a good while as well. So I'm going to be a little rusty. I'm just going to quickly put that out there now. But I'm keen for you to show me this firing range because as much as I remember going into the firing range when I started or when we started when the game first came out, like it was just very basic.
yeah,
Well, there wasn't really too much to it. So everything you said now, I'm really intrigued to go and check out. You touched on this a little bit earlier. What are your favorite aspects of the game itself? Like at what point when you started playing it, particularly in that first week where you were like, yeah, this is it. Like I'm hooked. This is something I'm going to keep playing.
it's the characters and their abilities. Like, um, it was a free game, and as much as we got dumped on, we were enjoying it because it was a game that we could all play, that we didn't have to spend money on, even though I've spent quite a lot on it now. And something new. Like I get very obsessed with games for a time, but Apex is something I always go back to because it's a game I don't have to grind the weapons up or the characters up to unlock like attachments or anything. I can just drop in
Mm.
and that's my favorite thing. So my favorite thing about Apex is the RNG of it. Like me and you can drop in the exact same spot and open up two different bins. I can open up nothing or the worst gun in the game, and you can open up the best armor, the best gun in the game, and turn around and dump on me. And you're going to walk out with a smile on your face, and I'm going to punch my monitor through the wall, and that's the best thing, because you don't have to be amazing at the game to have a good time, because the game can favor you. Where
Absolutely.
other games, you kind of drop in, you buy the most broken gun in the game, and then you kind of tear through the lobbies, or there's certain things that you look for to make yourself the best. But this, it's very, I find it balanced. Obviously, some are overpowered than others, and some do a lot more than the rest. But it's, in terms of battle royales, I find it quite balanced in terms of enjoyment, and and just the whole skill of it all.
Well, there was one aspect that was, I believe was quite new at the time, which then other battle royales also jumped onto the bandwagon with, because for myself, and especially playing online games, as a woman, I would never like to be on voice chat, but they had that pinging system.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I thought, oh my God, this is brilliant. Like, this is so good. And like how intuitive that pinging system was to communicate with the teammates without feeling compelled to have to be on voice chat with two random strangers in your squad, I thought was brilliant.
So there is an actual professional Apex player in North America, I think, that does not communicate. He doesn't mute. Oh, sorry, or he is mute. He doesn't communicate with his teammates via voice. He only uses pings, and he's a top Predator level player, trying to compete in all these tournaments. So, and it is possible to do it. I mean, sure, it's annoying, and there's a lot of debate on whether or not he should be in this sort of scene type of thing, because it kind of does. But if it works, it works. But that's a huge aspect of it. My favorite, actually, like to touch back on the last question, was my favorite thing is you can respawn each other when you die, as long as you get the banner.
Oh, I do like that too.
And
yes.
some of the other games at the time is when you die, you're dead, or you're out permanently, and it's like then you have to sit there and watch your teammates, and it's kind of this kind of sucks. But with Apex, you get the ability to respawn, and that's where they helped a lot of the other games mold that and shape some of the other battle royals to come following the whole respawn system.
Yeah, well, the respawn system and the pinging system, I just thought at the time, I was like, this is brilliant. Like, I was just too intimidated to just jump on as little old me, like in voice, and hope that my other teammates were going to behave and be nice.
Oh.
And I think for any gamer who's, remembers like going into a multiplayer lobby for the first time, not a great experience for the most part. And it's sad that it is that way. But this was just a great alternative way of communication. And that's one of the things that I really took away from Apex that I loved. So, and then I roped all my friends into it, and then we just yell at each other. Anyway, this episode is brought to you by StreamTapes. Stop spending hours looking for stream-friendly, copyright-free music for your content and check out StreamTapes. StreamTapes is music for creators that is not only safe to use across your channels, it's simply great music to listen to. Create comfortably with hours of premium music from a range of genres like lo-fi, rock, party tunes, and hype tracks without the hassle of copyright or DMCA strikes. StreamTapes. It's music for creators. Listen now on Spotify and Apple Music, or visit streamtapes.com.au for direct download and more. Now, when you started playing Apex as well, what was like the first legend that you started with, and what legend would you recommend people to start with as well?
So I think it's pretty safe to say that most people, if they are the very aggressive players, they generally go for the Wraith character, which is the female character that can phase and create portals and stuff. Because she's such a very aggressive character, like a lot of people try and start with her. But with the basic characters, you have one that smokes, one that scans, one that can zip away, one that can revive people. Or Lifeline was one of the first. When you ask most people what character they main, you either get Wraith, Lifeline, or I kind of want to say Bangalore. Like my best mate who's just started, I'm like, what character are you playing? He's like, Bangalore. And I was like, makes sense, because he does like to ruin my experience by just completely cutting my vision off. So, but yeah, I think on PC, definitely I was torn between Lifeline and Wraith. But when they nerf a character pretty hard into the ground, it's easier just to go back to Wraith, because she's so versatile with everything. It's not my current main, but it's probably the first one that I started with.
Yeah, so you reckon for anyone who's looking to start, maybe start looking at Wraith and Lifeline first, perhaps. But it's gonna be, I like you said, it's
Yeah.
gonna be different to everyone's play style, like what you prefer. If you prefer being more aggressive, or for me, especially when I start learning a game in general, if there's a support option, I like to go with that and just help my, I assume my more experienced teammates kind of take the lead. And that's why I've always stuck with Lifeline. But who's your go-to legend now, out of curiosity?
Oh, I will add, for beginners, don't start with Gibraltar. He has such a high skill gap between the other characters because he's such a defensive legend. And even though all the legends run the same, they're all the same speed, his big arm animations make him look slower, and it kind of can affect you. So,
Yeah, okay.
so playing something like the Wraith or your Pathfinders, you can just escape quickly. Or go your lifelines and just follow your team. That's the best thing I generally suggest people in your first few games. Just follow someone, but figure out what they're
Yeah.
doing. But right now, in public games, I love Pathfinder. I love being able to do like the tricks with the zip lines and stuff because I like to think I've watched enough people to try and perfect what I'm doing. So when people see me, they either generally associate the Pathfinder with me. But in the current season, I'm kind of trolling a little bit and ranked by playing Crypto, who throws out the drone and stuff, which the way that the new rank system's played, I'm trying something different. Otherwise, I play each character now as of this is the second season that they're doing it in. They've split the characters into like classes or roles. So you got your supports, your controllers. Like we'll talk about that soon. But there's I do what are they called? The scanning type of legend. So your bloodhounds, your seers, your cryptos. Like I play that sort of role when I play with my general people that I play ranked with.
Yeah, I think it's good, if you wanted to take it that extra level to go for that ranked grind. But I've had to really, something I've learned about myself as a gamer is as soon as I start playing ranked, I get very grumpy. I have a little temper.
No.
A little temper. I say a little temper, but I feel like anyone that knows me knows that grows into a very big thing. So I generally like doing like usual kind of quick play matches, but I'd love to know how the rank system has changed and what it looks like now for those who do want to take it to the next level. What would you say is also your go-to weapon at the moment? Like, what's your favorite? I mean, I know you did mention before, and we'll have a look at the firing range together later as well. Like, it is going to depend on personal preference and stuff.
Yep.
But in terms of your recommendations for someone who maybe hasn't played a first person shooter before, doesn't know what other guns and stuff feel like, what do you think are your go-to options?
Well, there is always meta weapons. So like what's currently just like no-brainers to kind of pick up more than others because everybody's using them. Like you do get the seasons where people just crutch certain guns. So like this season, it's the last two seasons is the new energy weapon, the Nemesis. It's either a 3 to 4 burst weapon, but the longer you hold it down, the faster it gets if you're hitting people, and so it kind of shreds through people. And then what people used to do was run a shotgun secondary, so they didn't have to have much ammo. But running the R99, which is a SMG for the light ammo, that's the best SMG in the game. So people that generally run the Nemesis 99s or we call it the cringe rifle or the charge rifle, which is the sniper with just the beam because it hits hand. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's fun to troll with, but
one of my favorites.
The way that the new rank system works is last season you kind of just aped everybody. The more kills you got, the more points you got. Where this season, what was it? And a professional player called Sweet Dreams who plays for the team NRG. He used crypto. He played 50 games and got to the top rank of Predator. He won 5. He literally he didn't shoot a single gun. He had zero damage, 0 kills, and got to bread by playing this crypto. So I thought I wanted to try to see if it would work because it's the new system. How it works is once you get to top 10, then you kind of get points. So if you so there's 20 teams. So if you become 11th and 20th, that's where you get punished. So right now the strategy isn't to ape, or when I say ape, I mean rush every team, because the ape term is to be aggressive, to aggressively push onto a team. But once you get to 10th, that's where all your points start kind of doubling. So we kind of play the zone area till we get top 10, and then we sort of try and take fights. Or we try and get to top 5, and then we just hardcore kind of push everybody, because that's when all the points start going through the roof. And that's what helps with having the crypto, like, because you can drone, you can patrol the areas, you can see how many people are sort of in the area type of thing, and some of the options to scan certain things with the drone. It's like that. Or if your team dies, you can use the drone to pick them up. When they completely bleed out and are eliminated, and they're a box, you can pick up their banners. So there's a lot of versatility to it. But right now, a lot of people don't like the new season because it promotes ratting. And for those that don't know what ratting means, is kind of like you sit in a corner like a little rat, and trying to get the points. Which, if you're the only one left and you can't get your team back, ratting it's a viable option. It's annoying, but so it kind of promotes that, because it doesn't reward skill until the later game.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I guess I feel like this might be like a no-brainer question, but I think if you're going into games like ranked, it's probably better having a pre-established team, like your mates, and knowing how you work. Or I feel like maybe you might say no. I don't know. I'm trying to gauge your reaction. Just what do you think?
So there are a lot of solo queue players. Like, for me personally, I hate playing solo. It's so boring, and you don't know what type of teammates you're going to get. It's a huge gamble. You seriously get some of the worst people imaginable, whether they're toxic, whether they just don't have a clue, whether they speak English, so you can't communicate with them. So I like communicating with my team. I like having fun while I play. We can lock in, but like the aspect of still being able to bounce off your teammates is there. So short story long, yes, I highly recommend getting a team. But like someone like me is, yes, I know a lot of people that play the game. Yes, I have a lot of friends that play the game, but I don't always have the same, this as well as anyone else. Being in Perth, it's very hard to try and find people to play with because being 2 hours behind. So I'm considered in the DGen hours type of streamer. We didn't find a third for about an hour last night before someone finally dropped in and was like, "Oh, do you need them?" And I was like, "Ah, cool." Yeah. And then we had an absolute time. It's easier communicating, easy to be able to, especially in the new system, because people just talking to my friends, they're just like, "I can't get out of this level," and I'm like, "Just play this character." They're like, "Yeah, but my team runs in and dies because all they want to do is fight people." I'm like, "Leave them." If you see them go this way, you go that way.
Not working for you.
And solo queue is not good for your mental health, I swear.
Yeah, no, there's only so much solo queuing I can do before I'm like, nah, that's it. So yeah, I guess. But if solo playing is more your vibe, I think something that I learned is just like you're not gonna win if you try and run and gun it yourself. Like, you gotta have. I feel like you do need to have that team mentality going in anyway, because there's nothing worse than seeing old mate on one of your team, like one of your team members, just run off in the other direction, and you're like, okay, well, if we're about to run into a fight now, like we're done for.
Yeah.
I do think it's definitely better going into that team mentality. You'd agree?
But I also will say that I probably learnt how to play the game a lot more playing by myself compared to playing with just my friends. Because if you're playing with people that don't know how to play as well, like I do play with a lot of friends because I'd like to play for fun. But ultimately, if I want to be a better player, I have to find better people to play with. So there's that aspect. So like, you can play for fun and whatever else, but if you do want to get better at the game, solo queuing does help because you play with a variety of different players. I'm not saying that if your team runs this way and you're not confident to run that way, always try. But if they start dying, don't go in and save them, like, because there's only so much you can do against 3 players. Like, if it's in like clutch situations, like where you just like, if it's ranked, just your points are worth more than their life. But if it's if you're playing public games, it's just go in and have fun. Like there's different game. Like, I don't know if one of your questions was about like different game modes and stuff, but there's different game modes to play as well instead of BR now, so it's a lot more enjoyable.
We might have to touch on that a bit later when we go and play the game together, because there are so many like different game modes and stuff to play as well. I haven't even spoken about arenas and stuff like that.
Arenas
as well.
is no more. So what they did, no,
No.
it was good. It was the worst thing that they ever did with the game.
You didn't like
It was
arenas?
terrible.
I did that as like a warm-up before my quick play games. And what, they've removed it immediately.
So the weapons weren't balanced, like the pricings weren't balanced. There was no skill-based matchmaking,
right.
so you versed the best players in the game. The rank was dog order. So what they did now is replaced it with, I think it's called mixtape. I always get it wrong. It's mixtape or mix it up or something. Mixtape. We'll call it mixtape.
Okay.
Which now has TDM, control, and gun run, which is basically gun game.
Yeah,
Which is so much better. It's so much more fun. There's just a different aspect. It's like sometimes it's sweaty, but like arenas, I couldn't just relax it because people just tried really hard. They just want to win. Where with control, TDM and stuff, you can just muck around. You can try it. It gives you a variety of different guns to use, so you can practice with those. And you're respawning. You know what I mean? Like where arena and BRs, you don't respawn unless you. Obviously, you got the respawn system, but once you die, you're out. Where these games, you spawn in a new spot, you run back into action, you die, you do it again. So that's how you learn the game as well.
Oh man, maybe I'm further out of the loop of Apex than I thought I was. Yep. Holy moly! You know what we will do though when we play it together a little bit later? Let's maybe we'll go into the firing range. We'll do like a quote unquote normal game, quick play game, and then maybe we should check out some of those other game modes together because those might speak to people a bit more than maybe the standard battle royale play mode does.
100%. And in the firing range, like we'll touch back on that question that you asked about like what weapons I recommend and stuff. Especially like I will say that every sort of gun type, like assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, snipers, they have their own color for ammo. So anything yellow or blue or teal or there's a whole debate of what the color is, but it's more of a teal, right? I say blue.
Yeah.
Blue and yellow. Yeah. They're probably the easiest ones to learn. So just aim for those ones. If you see that they need their...
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I found that really easy as a first time player going, oh yeah, this gun is this color. So, on the UI, it's this color. So I need to get this color ammo. It's just, it sounds really straightforward probably to someone who is experienced or knows what kind of ammo, like in Call of Duty, for example, what goes with what and things like that. But like for someone who was new to it, I was like, this is great. This is really approachable. But what is one thing that you wish you knew before you started playing Apex?
Ooh. Okay, so...
If you can go back and tell yourself, before you picked up that controller and you started playing Apex, you can give yourself any tips or
besides
suggestions.
Just jump straight on PC? Nah. Just to learn the positionings. Like Apex is very position based, so it's gunplay is a part of the fight, but it's not just you can stand there and 1v1 each other. There's just so much more to it, like in terms of abilities. So just learning how to like climb things, jump things, and just repositioning yourself for fights and stuff. That's basically, I said, learn how to wall bounce quicker, or learn how to just be able to hold certain spots and stuff and not be out so much in the open, or learn the POIs.
yeah, that's really important, especially now there's a few different, since launch there's quite a few different maps to muck around with as well. But for those who are looking to pick up the game, I guess this applies too, like what tips and tricks would you recommend to beginners, knowing those points of interest on the map, knowing how to hold angles, positioning, anything else?
So now with the firing range, there's a lot of different settings. So just play with all the settings, turn everything up, and then just go through each gun. That's all you can do really, because there's certain guns you're going to love, certain guns you're going to just absolutely hate. But just pick up the R301, or is probably the easiest thing I'm going to say is pick up the 301. You can't go wrong with it. It's the easiest gun to use in the game, and it's one of the best guns. So just figure out what kind of character you like, or like you need to find what type of player you are. Are you someone that likes to run in? Like as in a bit more of the IG or the in-game leader, like just to go in first or like make the plays, or do you prefer just to sit back a little bit, support your team, make sure everyone's healthy, make sure you kind of watching everyone's back, like just choose your role and just play play mixtape, literally just play mixtape. Now, I reckon
really I'd check that out.
I reckon I'd probably be a better, even better player if we had mixtape back when I started, because I would have been able to learn the game faster.
Yeah, right. Okay, cool. I can't wait to check that out with you. What are some other favorite games apart from Apex? Other favorite games of yours you think people should check out in general, Cuz?
Well,
Doesn't have to be FPS related. It could be anything. What are you vibing with right
I'm
now?
really excited for X Defiant. Like I absolutely loved the beta for it from Ubisoft. So that gave me a real nostalgia feel to the old COD that I used to be professional at, the original Modern Warfare. So playing X Defiant really had me back in the feels. So I'm really excited for that. And I do say, like, I was playing Fortnite Zero Builds last night with some friends. It's a like just I know what people think about Fortnite, but it's a game you can literally play with anybody. I think I started playing it because I was playing with my 4-year-old nephew, and like we had a time. Like, you know, like it's something a bit more of a bond that you can share with someone special. And he's 4 years old, and you know, like I can't play Apex with him because he's gonna get dumped. You know what I mean? But I can play Fortnite with him. So there's just that many different games coming out, but I'm a bit more of a variety FPS gamer, so I'm just trying to figure out what I like, but Apex is something I always go back to.
Well, Apex, X Defiant, and Fortnite. Zero. I like Zero Build. I
Zero
can't build.
Don't build. No, I can't
build.
There's nothing
No,
worse than
I
shooting
can't
at
be
someone
bothered.
and they're building MTV cribs. There's nothing more painful.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And because finally as well, if people want to find more of your content, where can we find you? Tell us where to go.
So I primarily, you would find me on Cuzb0t on all socials, but that's with a spelled with a zero because not an O, as people like to. They're like, I can't find you. So
Do you get that a lot? Do you?
Cuzb0t. So on all socials, Twitter and Instagram probably my main platforms when I'm not streaming. But otherwise, I'm really trying to push out Blackout GG. You can. It's BLAKOUTGG. That's on all socials. So that's all Indigenous content team. Depending when this video goes out on the 14th is our first YouTube video that we're releasing. So very excited for that. So anyone that caught the stream at DreamHack, we're playing Played Up. So this is something we filmed just before that. So
Played Up.
It's just chaos and we just bag each other out. And it's just like the reason why I think people will enjoy it because of how close we are. So we can just completely banter with each other and take.
Yeah.
So either Cuzb0t or Blackout GG.
Oh, beautiful. Well, no, thank you so much for spending some of your day chatting about Apex because it's amazing to see, as you know, both of us have played the game when it launched, seeing how far it's come since it came out. It feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
But it's really not. Like, and, you know, I definitely resonate with you when you're like, look, it's always something I've gone back to, and it's I mean, it was something I was going back to for quite a while, and I think it's good that I've taken this break and you're about to take me through it. And you know, after so many changes, as we found out in this episode since the last time I've played. Thank you to everyone that's been tuning into this episode. Cuzb0t and I will be checking out Apex Legends on my YouTube channel, so make sure you check out Stormy Plays to see us walk through the game, check out that firing squad, go into a couple matches, check out those different game modes we're chatting about as well. You can find me, Stormy, at twitch.tv/Stormy Streams. And make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite streaming platform. And you can follow XP Share Podcast on Twitter at XPShare_podcast for updates on new episodes, on upcoming guests. And if there's a certain game or creator you want us to have on the show and discuss, let us know, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.